Good afternoon. A Hamilton man has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder in connection with a 20-year-old cold case murder. Now, the deadly incident happened September 17th of 2006. CB24's Steve Ryan's been following the cold case investigation and joins us live from police headquarters with more details. Steve.
Nathan, some very good police work with the assistance of a genetic genealogist. So as you said, this murder has remained outstanding and unsolved since 2006. Now, often when you have a donor's DNA at a scene, you can compare that to known DNA of known offenders, rather, who are on the DNA data bank, or you can compare that DNA to crime scenes where DNA has been collected to see if, in fact, that person's committed a second offense, or if you can get a name from the data bank itself. When you have neither at both of those attempts, then you can go to a genetic genealogist. So let's say, for the sake of argument, somebody's got 13 markers with the DNA. If you go to a genetic genealogist, you might get somebody who's got 3 or 4 of the same markers as your suspect DNA in the homicide. Then you would do very good detective work, and you'd see if there's a connection between any of your long-lost family members to the City of Toronto, somebody who might know who this deceased was. Once you get that name, you would then use a mobile surveillance team. As the officer in charge thanked the mobile surveillance team today, a surveillance team then can surveil your person of interest, perhaps obtain a discarded cast-off DNA sample from that person of interest, then compare that cast-off sample to your homicide scene, and that's how you get your a suspect turning into an accused. Very good work by the Toronto Police cold case and the genetic genealogist. You'll hear from the officer in charge, and then at the other end of this, I'll explain what happens next once you place somebody under arrest on reasonable grounds as a result of the DNA match. Here's more.
At this time, we are still trying to determine the events that led to this murder and the relationship between the accused and the victim. We know that the accused has been residing in Hamilton. We also believe more than one person may be involved in this murder.
First-degree murder charge was laid because the police alleged that there was an attempted kidnapping or abduction. So if there's a death involved in a kidnapping, that's why first-degree murder is laid. Now that they have this guy in custody, they'll have to get a judicial authorization to get a DNA blood sample from that person. And once you get that sample with the authorization of the court, compare that to your crime scene, and now you've confirmed your suspicions, and you've got the person who you believe was responsible for this homicide that happened some 20 years ago. I'll send it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Police have released a video of a pair of suspects wanted in connection with a deadly shooting in Niagara Falls earlier this month. Investigators say the video of 30-year-old Josta McNeil and 23-year-old Maroof Banji was taken in the Pickering area July 19th. The pair is wanted for first-degree murder in the death of 35-year-old Michael Snodden, who was killed in Niagara Falls on July 16th. A vehicle the pair were believed to be driving was found near Montreal on July 22nd. Niagara Regional Police are asking anyone who knows where they are to come forward. A 43-year-old man is dead following a crash involving an e-scooter. It happened shortly after 7:30 last night near Leslie and Unwin Avenue. Police say the 43-year-old was riding the e-scooter east on Unwin. He lost control and went into oncoming traffic when he was hit by a van being driven by a 54-year-old man. The man riding the scooter was rushed to hospital, where he later died. An investigation is ongoing. Durham Regional Police say officers accused of assaulting a lawyer during a courthouse arrest won't be facing charges. The incident in question happened January 23rd at the Superior Court of Justice in Oshawa. Lawyer Sudeen Riley accused officers who were charging her with trespassing of slamming her head into a desk, putting their knees in her back and neck, and dragging her to the courthouse's basement cell. Durham police say they sought out an independent investigation, adding, after completing its investigation, York Regional Police concluded that there were no reasonable grounds in the evidence to support criminal charges against any of the officers involved. They say the matter is now being referred to the Law Enforcement Complaints Agency to consider whether any misconduct occurred. Representatives for Riley say they're disappointed by the results of the investigation and have asked for all video footage of the incident. They add that she's committed to pursuing all avenues to ensure accountability. City Council's meeting again later, and their last meeting before October's municipal election. Several items are on the agenda, including a motion calling for the regulation of surveillance pricing, as well as a report outlining the impact of hosting FIFA World Cup matches. CTV's Beth McDonnell is at City Hall and joins us with more on this last meeting. Beth.
Nathan, it's day 2 of a mammoth city council meeting, the last before the civic election in October. Up for discussion was the mayor's motion for the city to study a ban on surveillance pricing. Now, this motion passed unanimously with councillors in the chamber applauding, all 26 councillors voting in favor. Surveillance pricing uses personal data and AI, which allows companies to sell consumers goods at different prices based on what they know about you. The motion asks staff to study all pathways to ban and regulate the practice in store and online. Some experts say the motion won't have much weight legally, resting more with the province and federal government. But it could influence which businesses the city deals with or influence city contracts and leases.
Although we might lack the actual legislative power to implement some of what's in this motion, I think it sends the right signal and the right message to corporate Canada that people are concerned. People are really struggling with affording the basics of life.
This is a serious matter. This is why we need to have some checks and balances. And especially in this crazy AI world we live in, you know, you could have these bots take off on their own, doing things. They have no control of that anymore.
It's really important that we're looking out for them. So I want to thank everyone for taking this so seriously and think about how we can be improving this situation for Torontonians.
This afternoon, we are expected to hear from the mayor on the future of the Toronto Islands with a new motion. We're also expected to hear concerns over the expansion of a data centre in Scarborough. Reporting live at City Council, I'm Beth McDonnell. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. There was a fire at a high-rise under construction in Etobicoke. Flames broke out at around 1:15 in the morning near the Queensway and Canmotor Avenue east of Islington. Toronto Fire says scaffolding on the 10th floor caught fire but has since been put out. The cause is still being investigated. Nobody was hurt. The province's first medical school devoted to training family doctors is getting an infusion of cash. CTV Toronto has learned the Ford government will commit $55.8 million to York University School of Medicine. The school is scheduled to welcome students in August of 2028 on a site neighboring Cordelucci Vaughan Hospital. In December, the Ontario Medical Association estimated 2.5 million Ontarians are without access to primary care, with the number expected to grow as doctors retire or consider leaving the field. The funding aims to help the school pay for its accreditation, curriculum development, recruitment, and training, as well as establishing a medical library.
It's going to ensure that, you know, the majority of the students that are going through this med school are going to land in family physician positions all across Ontario. Understanding that, you know, if you go to a different medical school, you can choose a specialty and end up in a hospital setting in one of the specialists specifically. But we want to ensure that, you know, we're meeting the need of family physicians. So by exclusively ensuring that this school is focused on family physicians, it's going to make sure that we are producing significant more family physicians moving forward.
The Ford government has committed $3.4 billion to connect every Ontarian to a family doctor or primary care team by 2029. As people begin to get away for the long weekend, there are concerns about a potential strike by WestJet flight attendants. CTV's Janice Golding joins us live from Pearson Airport with more on the concerns. Janice.
Hi, Nathan. Yes, there is a potential strike brewing here at Pearson International Airport, with about 4,400 WestJet flight attendants saying they could walk off the job as soon as 2 a.m. Sunday. Now, the union representing the flight attendants says it has issued a 72-hour strike notice after 99.4% of its members voted in favor of a strike on July the 15th. WestJet confirms that it responded with a 72-hour lockout notice. Now, QP Local 8125, the union representing the flight attendants, says it's been very clear about what they're fighting for, but says the parties are still too far apart on some key issues. The main stumbling block is over what's called the credit hour system, which the union alleges means some flight attendants are working up to 35 hours for free every month. And they're now asking to be paid for their entire duty period from check-in to when they clock out, and not just for flight time plus a partial ground duty payment. This is the same issue that was behind a 3-day strike involving about 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants last year, which impacted flights for about 500,000 passengers. Here's reaction to the possible labor stoppage at Terminal 3 today.
We're going to Vancouver for my brother's wedding. If it happens, yeah, it affects our work schedule. Our kids are with their grandparents, so everything would kind of get pushed back. It'd be pretty inconvenient.
I think it causes some anxiety for us. Our kids are at home, like my husband said, so just, fingers crossed that everything goes smooth.
Well, I'm starting to get worried about it. If they do, then I don't know if I'm going to be back in time for work on Tuesday.
They'll be looking at canceling flights that are particularly long-haul flights where airplanes will be flying, Saturday night or through Sunday morning. Those airplanes will probably not fly. They want to keep those airplanes as close to the maintenance space or parking facilities so that when the strike does happen, the airplanes are in position and they can be secured, and crews are at their home base and don't have to fly them back home.
Now, WestJet says it doesn't anticipate any immediate impact to air travel. However, that may change the sooner or closer they get to the deadline. In the meantime, it is offering passengers the ability to change or cancel flights if they have flights booked between August 30th, or rather July 30th and August the 4th. Reporting live, Janice Golding. Now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. It's a scam that uses social media to find new victims. An unsatisfied WestJet passenger lost thousands after posting a negative review online. Here's Pat Foran with the story.
I was not happy. I was really upset.
Tracy Healy of Toronto was visiting British Columbia in March and had a great trip. But when she was to fly home in April, she missed her first flight. She did make it to Vancouver Airport for her connecting flight, but was not allowed to board.
So I'm sitting at the airport and I'm panicking because I need to get back home to Toronto and I have work the next day.
Healy decided to vent her frustration by contacting WestJet through social media.
I log on to Facebook and then I found the WestJet customer service Facebook group.
She says almost immediately she got messages from people claiming to be WestJet employees who wanted to help.
We want to make this right for you. We're going to give you a refund and we're going to pay for your flight home.
Healy says she was asked for her credit card and banking information so they could give her a $3,000 refund. But instead, the money was taken out of her account.
I got scammed $3,000 from somebody claiming to be a WestJet customer service rep in Kenya.
When CTV News reached out to WestJet, a spokesperson said, WestJet will never request payment or sensitive personal information through unofficial channels such as unsolicited WhatsApp messages, calls, or non-verified social media accounts.
Criminals will monitor the comment section of so many recognizable brands.
Cybersecurity experts say you should avoid posting comments online and not interact with companies through social media platforms. Only deal with them through regular channels.
Reach out to us through our published phone number and we will help you. Nothing else should be trusted.
Healy says she should have noticed some red flags, but says she was frazzled and frustrated being stuck in an airport.
I can't believe I fell for this. He caught me at a moment when I was primed for the picking.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
The organizers of Afrofest are canceling this year's edition of the event. They say the cancellation is the result of the city cutting capacity at Woodbine Park to 5,000 people. The festival regularly attracts up to 40,000 visitors per day. Despite new safety initiatives, including ticketing, fencing, controlled entry, and added security, organizers say public safety could not be guaranteed with a large number of attendees. They're now looking for a new venue, but say there's just not enough time to relocate this year. Organizers have committed to bringing Afrofest back next summer. We have more news in a moment, but first a look at the forecast. There's a live shot of the city this afternoon. Clear, sunny skies. Things are looking good. And yes, Afrofest canceled, but a lot of other events happening this long weekend. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison with a look at how things are now. Hey, Lindsay.
Well, hey, Nathan, today would have been the perfect day for an outdoor festival or any activity that you may have planned. Get outside and enjoy these weather conditions because things will change a little bit over the long weekend. Right now it is 27 degrees at Toronto Pearson Airport. It feels like 31. We do once again have a northerly breeze, but it's kind of nice and refreshing, especially with all that sunshine out there. Gusty winds to near 30 kilometers per hour. We are at an 8 on the UV index, so you know what to do. Hat, sunscreen, any of those before you head out today. Still a bit of cloud lingering around Niagara, and it's finally drying out across eastern sections of Ontario. For us in the GTA, it is wall-to-wall sunshine for this afternoon. 28 degrees will feel like 32. But yes, some wet weather is in our forecast. We'll show you when it is set to arrive coming up. Nathan, for now, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. The province gave an update this morning on the wildfire situation in northern Ontario. There are currently 159 active fires, with 30 considered out of control. Officials say 80 have been extinguished over the past 2 weeks. Ontario's Natural Resources Minister says while the situation appears to be improving, there's still a long way to go as crews work to protect people and property.
While this is still a very active situation, we are seeing things move in a more reassuring direction. Over the past week, additional resources have also arrived in Ontario. Personnel and aircraft from Alberta, Newfoundland, New Brunswick, and the Yukon, as well as the federal government, have been here for the last several weeks doing amazing work. And earlier this week, crews from Prince Edward Island, as well as over 100 firefighters from Mexico, arrived in the Northwest. These firefighters from Mexico are highly trained and have worked alongside our crews in Ontario before.
When communities are having their calls with the Provincial Emergency Operations Centre, we're hearing directly from those community members, from the leadership, what it is, any special supports or resources they need. We also have field officers on the ground in those locations helping the communities. The wraparound supports that are available, I've mentioned before, outside of just looking at hotel space, is what is the healthcare capacity of the region that we're looking at having host cities.
The province says there are currently 156 fire crews on the ground battling wildfires. New data shows the number of people working in Canada increased by 24,000 in May, which amounts to a 0.1% increase compared to April. On a year-over-year basis, payroll employment was up by more than 112,000, which represents an increase of less than 1%. The numbers from Stats Canada show the average weekly earnings were up also by 3.4% on a year-over-year basis. All right, Mayor Olivia Chow is answering questions in council chambers right now. Let's listen in live.
So that's our announcement. I hope that people will come down to Toronto Island, and I think this long weekend the weather is going to be pretty good. So come and bring your family, and a big part of the family will be able to get over to the island for free. Deputy Mayor.
As the mayor said, Toronto Island Park is one of our most loved destinations in Toronto. It has 1.5 million visitors every single year. And Torontonians spoke up very clearly to say our city, our waterfront, and to have this incredible win in the federal government saying that they will not support airport expansion. We're saying thank you, and we're making it possible for the Toronto Island Park and our waterfront to be enjoyed even more for the month of August, with free rides for kids, youth, and seniors. And we hope many more people will be able to, not just defend and protect our waterfront, but to be able to enjoy it and see what we're fighting for. And that's part of our continued work to revitalize the waterfront as an amazing place to live, work, play, and learn for all of us. And I'm really excited that we're able to do this together.
Mayor, can we just ask about what's the cost for this and where's the money coming from?
The money will be from Deputy Mayor Osman Malik's Section 37 funds. It is up to $935,000. So it's not from the property tax base. It's really from all the developers that have been building and paying through Section 37 into a pot. And Deputy Mayor Malik has been very kind and generous and said, since that money come from building homes, condos in the waterfront, she's putting that funds ahead. If we don't end up spending that dollar amount, any of that dollar will be used to improve the capital and the look of the ferry dock.
Mayor, yesterday you said that you no longer have confidence in the city's appointee to the Port Authority Board. You said you were going to talk to council about what you can do. Do you want to remove her, and do you think you have the power to do that?
We are still investigating that at this point. Once you've been appointed on the Port Authority, they are a member of the Toronto Port Authority. So we are checking legally whether we have the power to do so.
Her term is up in April 2027.
Yeah.
If you win, you would get a chance to appoint someone else. If you do want to do that, would you want to make their appointment conditional on opposing any kind of future expansion plans?
Let us not project and be hypothetical. Let us continue to see what we can do today. But I don't need to project. And by the way, in terms of election, I'm launching my campaign in September after Labor Day. So we've more to talk about as far as election is concerned.
The Minister of Transportation has called the opposition to the expansion of the airport a small fringe group.
87,000 people in Toronto spoke up. That's why we want to thank them in the month of August. Those that are seniors, those that are younger than 19, including if you're 19, we include you too, come. And I named quite a few residents association. There's at least 6 residents association in Etobicoke. I've looked at the people writing in. They are from Scarborough Residents Association, so they are from all over the city. And Councillor Carroll and other councillors talked about how they were these are councillors in North York and all parts of the city, how they were stopped on the street and on festivals to say, wow, please protect our waterfront. And this is a very large group of people from across Toronto. They spoke with one voice, and we thank the federal government for listening to them, and we also want to thank them by, in the month of August, providing free rides to Toronto Islands.
So the free rides, are they exclusive to Toronto residents?
It's the seniors, and there are two different. Right now, if you purchase a ticket, you purchase either adults or seniors and children and young people. So, other than adults, everybody else is free.
But
we don't ask you to show us your ID, whether you're from Mississauga. We don't do that. But hey, if you live by the waterfront in Mississauga and feel that you really will be impacted by the ferry, feel free to come. But this is specifically for the city of Toronto.
And sorry, do you just...
All right, listening to Mayor Olivia Chow just answering questions during Council's final meeting before the municipal election in fall, October 26th. It's not unusual to take questions during the meeting from the media. She's asked about the island airport, and she says, look, one of their motions is trying to get the land back at the island airport from the province after the federal government grounded the plan for expansion there. So that's one of the items. Another item includes regulating surveillance pricing as well. So there are various items on the agenda. Our Beth McDonnell is there. She'll give us an update at 5 and 6 tonight, and of course online at ctvnewstoronto.ca. Well, as the trade war between Canada and the U.S. continues, Prime Minister Mark Carney is facing criticism for making too many concessions. It comes amid a push for Ottawa to use Canadian energy as leverage in the high-level talks. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more.
Canada's U.S. trade minister sat down with his American counterpart in D.C., releasing this smiling photo but no specifics. In the shadow of looming 50% Trump tariffs, New Brunswick's premier said her province's energy could be considered as a bargaining chip.
Have to be very strategic about how we use the leverage that we have. But I think one of my colleagues around the table used the quote, you need to walk softly and carry a big stick.
So when you're supplier of a key commodity, key service, you got to think really hard about not supplying.
In Alberta, the Prime Minister didn't seem keen to go there.
I don't see the value of doing, I mean, I can understand conceptually, but I don't see the value of it.
But a federal Conservative raised the option too.
Canada has leverage. We have energy. We have critical minerals. We have steel, aluminum, autos, manufacturing. American factories depend on Canadian supply chains. American workers depend on this relationship too. So let's use it.
MPs were at a rare summer meeting with Conservatives pushing for details about the Gordie Howe Bridge deal. It's in Harb Gill's riding.
The Americans apply pressure, we make concessions. What did they give us?
The Prime Minister was asked that question directly. On the list of concessions, this court filing shows the government plans to drop the requirement for American streaming services to pay for Canadian content. The government will foot the bill instead. Carney framed it as an affordability move.
Most Canadians have one or two or so of these streamers, and it's real money. This stuff adds up.
Ottawa has been in full retreat on pushing American technology companies on regulatory alignment. This is nothing short of changing political direction based on the broader context of the trade war.
Pushed by reporters on what Canada is getting in return from the United States, Carney said the best trade deal in the world right now. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
And CTV's Rachel Aiello joins us live from Ottawa with the latest on the Canada-U.S. trade talks. We know how important this is. Rachel, beyond the picture posted by Dominic LeBlanc, do we have any idea how this meeting with Jamieson Greer went?
Yeah, good afternoon, Nathan. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot more clarity because really the federal minister's office has chosen to be very tight-lipped in the communication around this trip to D.C. So beyond what was indicated in that post, that they had a comprehensive meeting and the two countries, they agreed to continue working together, continue to keep the lines of conversation open. We don't have much more in terms of what was on the table. Was there any takeaway coming out of that conversation? We know that happened yesterday morning. We also know that Janice Charette, who is seen next to the minister in that photo, our chief negotiator, separately on Tuesday met with her counterpart, the deputy USTR, United States Trade Representative. But we have reached out to the minister's office this morning to try to get more details on how much longer they plan to be in Washington, who else they may be meeting with. And in absence of any answer, I've been refreshing their social media channels and nothing new to report, unfortunately, yet.
The Prime Minister was also grilled on his government's tactics in the trade war. Are we expecting him to maybe change things up at all?
Yeah, so based on the answers he gave in Alberta yesterday, indicating that he views Canada as a trusted supplier of energy, and so he'd have to think really hard about wanting to pull that supply because in his estimation, the trust in Canada as that supplier is likely just as valuable as the commodity itself. So it does sound like the Prime Minister is positioning this country to leave that option on the table. He didn't entirely rule it out, but made it clear that that's not a step he's willing to take right yet, which of course opens up the question of what more does he know about the state of conversations with the Americans as we get closer, about 3 weeks away now from those new 50% tariffs coming into effect. Is there any chance of a deal on those in the short term? Are we any closer to a broader, more comprehensive deal that could see that and other trade irritants resolved without having to use the big stick, so to speak? That is a live question right now.
All right, a lot up in the air. CTV's Rachel Aiello live in Ottawa. Thank you.
Thanks.
To the Middle East now, where the scope of the U.S.-Iran war appears to be widening. Saudi Arabia is now joining strikes against Tehran-backed proxies in Iraq, while U.S. ally Egypt has come under fire for the first time since the conflict erupted. Drone strikes ignited fires on 2 natural gas vessels at an Egyptian port near the Suez Canal, which links the Mediterranean to the Red Sea. Egyptian officials say no one has claimed responsibility, but measures are being taken to protect Egypt's national security. The attack raises the prospect of threats to shipping through the Suez Canal. A strike by Iran or its allies, if confirmed, would mark a significant expansion of the conflict. Also overnight, the U.S. military says it struck down targets in Iran after Tehran fired at American forces in the region. U.S. Central Command says it carried out a 2-hour operation targeting the military command centers of Iran's Revolutionary Guards. Iranian state media reports 3 people were killed in U.S. strikes on Qeshm Island. U.S. President Donald Trump ordered the airstrikes after Iran's surprise attack on an American base in Jordan. Meanwhile, Russia is showing no signs of halting its ongoing invasion of Ukraine. Strikes today left at least 8 people dead and dozens more wounded. Cleanup in this town close to the Polish border is underway, with residents and rescue workers searching for survivors. Cities and towns across a wide area of Ukraine were targeted by missiles and drones. The intense violence follows reports of a shortage of interceptor missiles, which Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been highlighting. Russia's defense ministry says its air defense is down more than 250 Ukrainian drones overnight as they targeted depots linked to Russia's largest online retailer. Meanwhile, with those Russian attacks targeting Ukrainian areas so close to the border with NATO territory, Poland scrambled fighter jets earlier today to secure its airspace. Sirens could be heard in the early morning hours in Lublin, southeast of Warsaw. Closer to the border, residents in an eastern town reported a loud explosion and found a crater and debris. Poland's government believes the cause was likely a Russian ballistic missile. NATO Secretary Mark Rutte called the incident yet another reckless act by Russia and a dangerous consequence of its war against Ukraine.
Lots going on this weekend here in the city of Toronto. We have music and food festivals, and of course, we have Toronto's Caribbean Carnival and events getting underway today. Here's a look at the next 3 days weather-wise. Friday should be mostly sunny. We do have a chance of showers and risk of a storm late in the afternoon and into the early evening. Saturday, unfortunately, looks a little unsettled. That, of course, is the day of the Grand Parade. We've got some showers in the forecast, slightly cooler temperatures as well. So we'll talk about all this, whether you're spending the long weekend at home or in a different part of southern Ontario. We've got your forecast details after this break here on CTV News at noon. Stay with us.
The Princess Margaret Cottage Lottery absolute final deadline is midnight tonight. I'm Nicole Cervinas, and right now I'm standing in front of the $2.5 million prize. Again, that includes the Muskoka Lakefront Cottage and $50,000 cash. Here to tell us more is Brendan Ennis with more from the Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation. Now, Brendan, this prize is incredible, and there are more opportunities to win.
Oh, yeah. There's not just this amazing, beautiful grand prize, which, again, I can't believe we're standing here on the dock looking out at this lake talking about it. But we have 2 other grand prizes. We have a $2.2 million prize that includes a Halliburton cottage and $50,000 cash.
Wow.
We have a $2.3 million prize that has a beautiful hillside cottage nestled in Blue Mountain, also comes with $50,000 cash. And there's 8,000 other prizes to be won, all combining for $7.6 million in prizing.
Wow, so many opportunities to win big, and it really is a win-win because you are supporting cancer research.
That's right. Every ticket you purchase doesn't only give you a chance to change your life and your family's life, but the money raised from this program helps fuel cancer research and innovation and breakthroughs at the Princess Margaret Cancer Center. It's one of the world's top cancer research centers, and it's here in our backyard. And you know, that's going to change everyone's lives.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And again, so can these prizes that are spectacular. And there are also more opportunities to win because we have some add-ons.
That's right. So again, Princess Margaret Lotto.com. You have to get there before midnight tonight. And after you purchase your tickets, you get the chance to add on some amazing prizes, including the Princess Margaret 50/50,
wow,
which right now is $3.77 million, which means the winner gets to take home over $1.88 million. And that's just going to keep climbing. So before you know, you have to get your tickets.
Don't wait till midnight.
We might sell out. That jackpot has a chance to be reaching over $2 million today.
Wow, and it could be yours. So again, don't wait to the last minute. You want to get your tickets. Again, it's going to life-saving research. So get them at princessmargaretlotto.com.
All right, let's talk about the forecast. Many people may be lucky enough to have even the Friday off, to have an extended long weekend, wondering what the future looks in terms of weather. I'm sure many going to the Cottage or maybe staying in town, and so far so good.
I think this is a pretty popular time of year for people to extend their long weekend or maybe take an entire week off. And that actually makes me quite happy because the long weekend itself, weather-wise, maybe not the best, but the days surrounding it look pretty good. So if you maybe can extend your vacation a little ahead or after the long weekend, that might serve you pretty well. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. And a live look outside right now shows, again, just how gorgeous it is right now. This view from Hotel X, that of course is BMO Field, formerly known as Toronto Stadium during the World Cup. And yes, it is a pretty blue sky over the GTA. Not a cloud in, oh yeah, okay, I can see a couple of fair weather clouds, but it is wall-to-wall sunshine for today. Any clouds out there are going to be fair weather clouds. There's no threat of rain. Today, things do change in the coming days, but right now we are enjoying 27 degrees, feeling more like 31, so there is a bit of humidity out there, but it's not oppressive. You can go outside and enjoy a northerly breeze and sunshine right through the afternoon. Here's a look at some of today's expected highs. 24 degrees today in Bancroft, 26 for you in Orillia, 25 degrees in Waterloo, as well as Goderich. Nice day to spend some time along the waterfront, whether it's the shoreline of Lake Huron, Georgian Bay, Lake Erie, or Lake Ontario, or perhaps one of the lakes in between. Still hanging on to that chance of showers in eastern Ontario, but I was happy to see that most communities are now drying out as that system weakens and finally departs. Almanac for today. So yesterday, once again, we were just shy of 27 degrees. We'll call that a seasonal day. Record to beat for today is just shy of 35 degrees. We're not expected to get there, but again, it's going to feel into the low 30s once you take the humidity into consideration. This is a nice evening for a patio. We're not expecting any rain. It's not particularly hot. Temperatures are still going to be in the 20s as we make our way through the mid part of the evening, and then we fall to a seasonal overnight low of 17 degrees, and through the night we can expect a clear sky also. Your Friday, I'm going to separate it into two parts. So the day starts off with sunshine. Even the early afternoon looks good. We'll start to increase the cloud cover, and then it's in the late afternoon and early evening where we have this chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm. 30 degrees is what we're forecasting tomorrow. It is going to feel a little bit muggier just about everywhere, so prepare for that. And again, chance of showers as we make our way into the afternoon and early evening. All is quiet right now on the satellite and radar. Big picture look, though, does show a low pressure system developing. And with this, yeah, we've got some wet weather moving in for the long weekend. So here is your forecast radar. All is dry until about Friday afternoon. I'm going to do one pause here to show first the increase in cloud cover, a risk of thunderstorms too for us into the early part of the evening. Then we should dry out, but then Saturday, the redevelopment of some scattered showers. It's not looking like an all-day wet weather event, but it does look as though the rain and the thunderstorm activity could increase a little later in the day. And then Sunday at this point is looking generally unsettled and cloudy too. So this is the 7-day forecast. Temperatures in the mid-20s for Saturday and Sunday. Look at next week, though. The holiday Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday filled with sunshine with highs creeping back up toward 30 degrees. That's the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. The National Bank Open Tennis Tournament gets underway on Saturday. Now, this year, the women will be playing at Toronto's Sobeys Stadium, while the men will compete in Montreal. Canadians Bianca Andreescu, Leylah Fernandez, and Rebecca Marino are all competing in the singles draw. However, last year's champion, Burlington's Victoria Mboko, is missing the tournament because of injury. On the men's side, Canadians Felix Auger-Aliassime, Denis Shapovalov, and Gabriel Diallo are all competing in the singles draw. However, the two top-ranked men's players in the world, Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz, will not be competing. The National Bank Open runs from August 1st to the 13th. The Blue Jays have the day off before beginning a series with the St. Louis Cardinals tomorrow.
Poked up. Shallow right center. And it's down!
The Jays beat the Washington Nationals 5-2 yesterday, securing a series win. Despite the victory, the team still sits 5.5 games back of the final wild card spot. Dylan Cease is set to start tomorrow night when they host the Cardinals at the Rogers Center. The Tampa will look to snap a 4-game losing streak tonight when they host the Minnesota Lynx.
Pressure, Nurse. Handoff to Almont. Puts it up, knocks it down. Almont has been so consistent.
The team's coming off a 193 loss to the Lynx on Tuesday. They've been outscored by an average of 17 points during their losing streak. Tip-off for tonight's game is set for just after 8 at Coca-Cola Coliseum. Kawhi Leonard's return to Toronto could be delayed into next year. The NBA's investigation into whether the Los Angeles Clippers exploited salary cap loopholes to pay Leonard could drag into 2027 if the parties don't agree on the findings or any proposed settlement, which involves punishing the team. The Clippers have denied any wrongdoing, leaving Toronto's trade for Leonard in limbo. The Raptors agreed to acquire Leonard in exchange for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, and 2 first-round picks. Still to come, Toronto Public Health is reporting its first human case of West Nile virus this year. Details when we come back. Toronto Public Health is reporting its first human case of West Nile this year. West Nile virus is transmitted to people through the bite of an infected mosquito. Symptoms usually develop between 2 and 14 days after a person is bitten. They include fever, headache, nausea, vomiting, body ache, skin rash, swollen lymph glands, and a stiff neck. Toronto Public Health says people can protect themselves by wearing light-colored long-sleeve shirts and pants when outside, as well as applying insect repellent. They're also advising people to remove standing water from their property because it's where mosquitoes breed. Kids Help Phone says they've noticed an increase in the number of young people reaching out after hours. The number of teens and youth texting for help overnight has increased by 24% compared to the same time last year.
These are the things that kids are facing. So it's about anxiety. It's about stress in relationships. It's about depression and hopelessness that's happening in the world today. All of these things. And our fourth top related issue is suicidal ideation and thoughts of suicide. So these are complex situations where young people are reaching out and needing support right in that middle of the night.
The service is available to those needing help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Still to come, a new hiring survey shows more Canadian companies are looking to expand their workforces in the second half of 2026. We'll have the details when we come back. Loblaw Companies Limited says second quarter profits and revenue were up compared to a year ago. The company behind Loblaws and Shoppers Drug Mart says it earned $751 million in the 12-week period ending June 12th. We'll make that June 20th. And that's up $714 million in the same period in 2025. Looking specifically at food retail, sales were up 3.3%, with increases seen in customer traffic, basket size, and e-commerce business. Drugstores saw sales increase more than 6%, driven by specialty and chronic prescriptions, beauty, and over-the-counter items. Also today, Bombardier reported second quarter profits of $2.15 billion U.S. That was a stronger result than analysts had expected. Business jet makers are benefiting from sky-high demand. Aviation attorneys have pointed to an increased interest in private aviation linked to a surge in wealth held by tech investors. Bombardier said it also saw a record revenue from its aftermarket aircraft maintenance and repair service. A survey of Canadian companies suggests the demand for new skilled workers is on the rise. Talent solutions and business consulting firm Robert Half spoke with more than 1,300 Canadian hiring managers. 58% said they plan to increase permanent hiring during the second half of the year. And that's up from 55% from the start of 2026. More than half said they face ongoing challenges finding qualified talent. The specializations with the strongest hiring demand included legal, marketing, and creative and HR, followed by finance and accounting, tech, and administrative and customer support. You're watching CTV News at noon. More news after the break. Stay with us. All right, maybe a couple of clouds in the sky, but that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Enjoy today and tonight. Maybe you're heading out for some evening plans tonight. We're no weather concerns to be aware of. And then overnight tonight, we are going to be seasonal with a clear sky and very light winds. Lovely. Then tomorrow, the first half of the day is filled with sun. Bit of cloud cover increases in the afternoon, and then we do have the threat of a couple of isolated showers in the late afternoon, early evening, might even be a thunderstorm. It is going to be a hot and muggy day. Just a reminder that Saturday looks to be a little unsettled as well. Some cloud cover, some sunny breaks hopefully, but also the threat of showers at the very least, perhaps some periods of rain. 26 degrees is what we're expecting on Saturday. Saturday could be the more unsettled day this weekend in parts of Cottage country. Hopefully we'll see some drying out through the day on Sunday. But for pretty much everyone, Nathan, Monday is looking like a slam dunk, lots of sunshine, and the temperature returning to seasonal. So pretty good.
Looking forward to that day off. All right, that is it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca. For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a great day. I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6.